It's not often a January transfer goes as well as Luis Diaz to Liverpool. The Colombian, signed from FC Porto for a hefty €45 million, looks right at home among his all-conquering teammates, scoring 3 times in his first 10 appearances on Merseyside. He is yet another example of a star from Portugal's Primeira Liga lighting up the Premier League. Ederson and Ruben Dias are staples of the Manchester City defence. Bruno Fernandes dominates the United midfield, while Ricardo Pereira has excelled for Leicester. Wolves unearthed both Willy Bolly and Raul Jimenez from the Primeira Liga and host 9 of Portugal's 20-strong contingent in the English top flight. This successful transition from Portugal to England is remarkable, not at least because the Primeira Liga is considered just the 6th best division in Europe by UEFA. And as a country, Portugal's population of 10.3 million is less than Greece and almost 5 times smaller than its neighbour Spain. All the while, big names from Germany's Bundesliga or Italy's Serie A are perceived to sometimes struggle with the rigours of the English game. So how is the Portuguese top flight producing so much quality talent that looks at ease in the Premier League? This week on Eurofootball Daily Explained, we are heading to the Iberian Peninsula to find out. Portuguese clubs understand the importance of player sales more than most, with transfer market activity often their lifeblood. In terms of revenue, be it sponsorship deals or TV rights, the Primeira Liga is not a money spinner. As of 2019, it generated €524 million in revenue, almost a quarter of Ligue 1 and less than Germany's Bundesliga 2, Turkey's Super League or the Netherlands Eredivisie. But Portugal leads the pack on player sales. In 2021, FIFA released data showed that in the last decade, no country in the world turned a greater profit in the transfer market than Portugal, earning a net of almost $3 billion. The next most profitable nation was Brazil at nearly $1 billion less. Like much of Europe, Portugal's biggest market is England, with $1.24 billion worth of exports heading to the Premier League and beyond in the last decade. Therefore, producing quality that can thrive in English football is vital for business. To unearth new talent, Portuguese clubs have invested in their scouting network and mastered recruiting outside of their borders, particularly from overlooked South American nations. Porto's president, Pinto da Costa, is credited with starting this hugely profitable strategy. Just take the Colombian trio of Jackson Martinez, Radamel Falcao and James Rodriguez, bought collectively for €21 million before being sold on for close to 6 times that amount. However, the Brazilian market is where Portuguese clubs have really excelled. In the past decade, there was no greater movement of footballers between any two nations than the Portuguese-speaking pair. Their strong cultural connection gives the Primeira Liga clubs and their many scouts a natural advantage over their European rivals when it comes to landing Brazilian talent, which can then be developed and sold on at a premium. Ederson, David Luiz and Ramirez have all followed this pathway to the Premier League. Portugal has successfully exploited the general feeling that most players from Brazil need prior experience of European action before jumping to a Big 5 league. However, the transfer activity of giants like Manchester City and Real Madrid in recent years suggests the need for a middleman like the Primeira Liga is depleting. The Sky Blues have signed the talented teenagers Kaique and Diego Rosa straight from Brazil's Serie A in the past few seasons, while the success of Gabriel Martinelli's move from Ituano to Arsenal will only spur on more direct purchases. But for now, Portugal has the edge, meaning that plenty more stars from South America will end up venturing to the English top flight via a trip to the Primeira Liga. Of course, Portuguese football is more than just about buying and selling, as arguably nowhere has a more successful concentration of elite academies in the modern era than the Navigators. The numbers behind the Primeira Liga's main club speaks volumes of their prestige. Benfica, Porto and Sporting Clube de Portugal, the Big Three, run some of the most profitable academies in the world. This February, the CIES Football Observatory revealed Sporting earned €209 million in graduate sales over the past 7 years, the 9th most in Europe, while Porto came in 21st. However, it is Benfica who are the undisputed kings of exploiting the market, with the Eagles earning a world-best €379 million in profit. João Félix was sold to Atletico Madrid for a club record €127 million, while Renato Sanchez, Victor Lindelof and Nelson Semedo all commanded fees north of €30 million. So what are these academies doing right? For a start, it is estimated that the Big Three have 600 scouts between them scouring Portugal for potential, with Benfica employing half of those. Then they've all invested heavily in modern facilities and academies too. Benfica's Caixa Football Training Centre was opened in 2006 by the legendary Eusebio. Built to the tune of €15 million, it features 9 separate training pitches, 2 auditoriums and 3 state-of-the-art gyms. In the pursuit of perfection, they have overhauled the facility twice in the last decade. And education is considered equally as important, with the promotion of human values like respect, responsibility, justice and tolerance held up in equal measure to playing ability, according to the former under-19s coach Luis Nascimento. Bernardo Silva, Jan Oblak, Axel Witsel and Nemanja Matic are just a few of the names that have passed through its doors. Elsewhere, FC Porto won their maiden UEFA Youth League title in 2019 thanks to the efforts of its own academy. And Braga, typically the fourth biggest side in Portugal, has produced the Wolves pair of Pedro Neto and Francisco Trincao in recent years. But when it comes to overall success, Sporting's academy is unrivaled. First opened in 2002, Alcochete, as it was known before being renamed Academia Cristiano Ronaldo, was the first complex of its kind in Portugal. It is also the only academy that has produced 2 FIFA World Players of the Year in Luis Figo and Ronaldo. 10 members of Portugal's 2016 Euros winning squad passed through its system, including Nani and João Moutinho, while only Dinamo Zagreb, Ajax and Partizan Belgrade can claim to have more alumni involved in top-flight football. Portugal is one of the few countries in Europe that has made coaching an academic vocation, and every coach employed at Sporting's 6-pitch facility must hold a degree in sports science. This helps them stay completely up to date with modern tactics and perspectives, as does regular field trips to rival facilities such as Barcelona's La Masia or Ajax's De Toekomst. Creativity is championed, and just like at Benfica, producing polite and respectful individuals is central to their philosophy. In the words of Eric Dyer, its most famous English graduate, the coaches would, quote, never get angry with you if you missed a pass, but they would do if you were disrespectful to someone. Players at the Portuguese clubs and academies also benefit from learning under some of the most innovative coaches around. As of 2020, Portugal provided more non-domestic managers to Europe's top 5 leagues than any other nation, with Jose Mourinho, Andre Villas-Boas and Leonardo Jardim among the poster boys of that success. Now it is Porto's Sergio Conceição and Sporting's Ruben Amorim who are being tipped for the very top. Another big positive to developing in Portugal is the amount of playing time offered to the youth. All existing B teams of the major Primeira Liga clubs play in the remaining 2 divisions of their football pyramid, with Porto and Benfica B in Liga 2 and Sporting Braga and Vitória Guimarães B in Liga 3. This helps expose players to a decent and consistent level of football even when they're not breaking into the first team. Just take Scotland's Ryan Gould, who appeared 73 times in the Portuguese second tier for Sporting B following his move from Dundee United. And opportunities don't disappear once a player reaches the senior side. The average age of a Primeira Liga squad is 26, over a year younger than both the Premier League and Serie A, while this season 17 different players aged 18 or under have been handed minutes. That includes 2 16-year-olds and Braga's Bruno Fernandes, who at 15 years, 8 months and 12 days became the youngest player in Portuguese Super Cup history. Chuck in a plethora of ageing stars who have headed to Portugal in their later years, from Pepe to Javi Garcia, Jan Vertonghen and Ricardo Quaresma, and young stars have experienced role models to learn from and improve. And those who represent the top sides also get to rub shoulders with the very best in European competition. This term, Benfica have reached the last 8 of the Champions League, something Porto managed last season, while Carlos Carvalhal's Braga are on course to make the semi-finals of the Europa League. What is more, the Big Three's dominance over their domestic division can be seen as a benefit for developing talent. In the Primeira Liga's 88-year history, Benfica, Porto or Sporting have only failed to win the title twice, in 1946 and most recently in 2001. This overwhelming monopoly of power means the big sides have a rich history of having to break down their weaker rivals and become smarter at unpicking tight defences. All skills that are necessary in the Premier League. And finally, the strength of the Portuguese national team cannot be overlooked. The Seleção have qualified for 11 straight international tournaments in the 21st century and reached at least the semi-finals of the Euros 4 times. Their under-21 side has also reached 3 of the past 4 European Championships, finishing runners-up twice. In conclusion, it is really no surprise at all that stars of the Primeira Liga are shining in the Premier League. Exceptionally coached, strongly educated and loaded with experience of the highest level, they are arriving on English shores fully prepared for the task at hand. And with Portugal currently enjoying yet another golden generation, this should remain the case for many years to come. So that was our take on why the Primeira Liga produces so much talent that seems perfect for the Premier League. If you enjoyed it, please give it a like, make sure you're subscribed to the channel and hit that notification bell to never miss one of our videos. We'll see you next time.